Today, Chicago is one of the most recognizable cities on Earth. A place of towering skyscrapers, endless energy, and millions of people chasing their dreams beneath a skyline that seems to touch the clouds. Every day, trains race through the city, traffic flows beneath glowing buildings, and life moves at a pace that never seems to slow down. Chicago feels powerful, modern, and unstoppable. As the sun rises over Lake Michigan, its golden light reflects across glass towers and busy streets. It is hard to imagine that this massive city was once something completely different. Because if we travel back through time, far beyond the first roads and buildings, the Chicago we know today begins to disappear. The skyscrapers fade away, the streets vanish. In their place stand endless forests, winding rivers, and vast wetlands stretching as far as the eye can see. Thousands of years ago, this land belonged entirely to nature. Giant trees covered the landscape, wildlife moved freely through the wilderness, and the sounds of civilization did not exist. Long before Chicago became a city, Native American tribes, including the Potawatomi, lived beside these rivers and forests. Here they built thriving communities connected deeply to the land. Hunters crafted bows and arrows by hand using wood, stone, and generations of knowledge passed down through their ancestors. They moved quietly through the forests, tracking deer and other animals. Survival depended on patience, skill, and a deep understanding of nature. Along the rivers, fishermen guided wooden canoes through calm waters. Nets were carefully lowered into the river, providing food for families and villages.
Sad how the seasons change. Sad how the feelings go away. We were in love, but now it's over. So once in a while I dream.
Meanwhile, women gathered herbs, berries, and plants from the forests. The land provided nearly everything the community needed to survive. Meals were prepared over open fires. Smoke drifted into the cool air as families gathered together at the end of another day. Children played beside the riverbanks, laughing and exploring a world that was still untouched by cities, factories, and machines. As darkness arrived, elders shared stories around glowing fires. These stories carried history, wisdom, and traditions from one generation to the next. Entire communities came together during ceremonies and celebrations. Music, dancing, and spiritual traditions strengthened the bonds between people. The sound of drums echoed through the night, their rhythms carrying across the forests and rivers beneath the stars. Sacred ceremonies connected people to the spiritual world. These traditions had guided communities for centuries and shaped their understanding of life and nature. For generations, the land remained peaceful. Forests, rivers, and native communities existed together in a balance that had lasted for hundreds of years. But across the Atlantic Ocean, a new chapter was already beginning. European ships were pushing westward toward North America. Eventually, traders and explorers arrived near native lands. For the first time, two very different worlds came face to face.
Once in a while I dream. Once in a while I think of you. I reminisce on days gone by when you and I were new. Once in a while I dream, hoping that you'd return to me.
Trade soon developed between native tribes and European newcomers. Animal furs, tools, and goods were exchanged, creating new relationships and opportunities. Yet alongside trade came an invisible threat. Diseases carried from Europe spread through native communities that had no protection against them. Entire villages suffered devastating losses. Places once filled with life, laughter, and tradition became quiet and abandoned. As years passed, more settlers arrived. Forests that had stood for centuries were cut down to make room for farms, roads, and new settlement. The wilderness slowly began to change. Trees gave way to wooden buildings, and open land transformed into growing communities.
It's sad how how the seasons change. Sad how the feelings go away. We were in love, but now it's over. So once in a while I dream.
By the early 1800s, a small settlement had emerged along the river. Muddy streets, wooden structures, and horse-drawn carts marked the beginning of a new era. Its location proved valuable. Ships moved goods through the waterways, and commerce quickly expanded throughout the region. Then came the railroads. Steel tracks connected Chicago to distant cities, turning it into one of the most important transportation hubs in America. Factories rose across the landscape. Smokestacks filled the sky, and industry transformed the city into an economic powerhouse. Immigrants arrived from around the world, bringing skills, cultures, and dreams of a better future. Chicago became a city built by people from many different backgrounds. The population exploded. New buildings appeared almost everywhere. Businesses expanded, and the city grew faster than anyone could have imagined. But on a dry October night in 19,871, disaster struck. A fire broke out and quickly spread through the city's wooden buildings. Driven by strong winds, the flames raced across entire neighborhoods. Streets disappeared beneath smoke and fire as chaos consumed the city. Families fled carrying whatever possessions they could save. Thousands watched helplessly as their homes and businesses vanished before their eyes. When the fire finally ended, much of Chicago lay in ruins. Entire sections of the city had been reduced to ashes.
Once in a while I dream. Once in a while I think of you. I reminisce on days gone by when you and I were new. Once in a while I dream, hoping that you'd return to me. But I know that you're not coming back, so once in a while.
Many cities might never have recovered from such destruction. But Chicago refused to surrender. Almost immediately, rebuilding began. Engineers and architects introduced bold new ideas. Strong steel structures replaced vulnerable wooden buildings, and construction reached heights never seen before over the following decades. Chicago helped pioneer the age of the skyscraper. Its skyline rose higher and higher, transforming the city forever. The modern Chicago that emerged became a center of business, transportation, culture, and innovation. Streets buzzed with activity day and night. Highways stretched across land that had once been wilderness. Millions of vehicles traveled routes unimaginable to the people who lived here centuries earlier. Yet beneath every road and skyscraper lies a deeper history. The memory of the native communities who first called this land home has never completely disappeared, even on quiet winter nights. When snow falls gently between the buildings, Chicago seems to pause and reflect on its remarkable journey. Hidden beneath the modern city are layers of history, forgotten paths, ancient soil, and echoes of a world that existed long before steel and concrete. As the wind moves between the skyscrapers at sunset, it is almost as if the voices of the past still linger across the landscape, reminding us where the story truly began. Today, Chicago stands as a symbol of resilience, ambition, and transformation. From ancient forests and native villages to one of the world's greatest cities, its journey spans thousands of years, and every light shining across the skyline tells a small part of that extraordinary story.
Sad how the feelings go away. We were in love, but now it's over. So once in a while I dream. Pardon my plea, but would you allow if once in a while I dream? Once in a while I dream. Once in a while I think of you. I reminisce on days gone by when you and I were new. Once in a while I dream, hoping that you'd return to me. But I know that you're not coming back, so once in a while I dream. Each moment passes like hours. Each day is dark as the night. Since we have ended, I just pretend I have a reason to live. It's sad how the seasons change. Sad how the feelings go away. We were in love, but now it's over. So once in a while I dream. So sad how the seasons change. Sad how the feelings go away. We were in love, but now it's over. So once in a while I dream. Pardon my plea, but would you allow if once in a while I dream? Once in a while I dream. Once in a while I think of you. I reminisce on days gone by when you and I were